Um, all right, cool guys. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Hope you guys are doing well. Excited, grateful. We got a new week ahead of us. All right, I'm gonna run through it. We've ended our boot camp, so I got like, I'm not gonna be doing the early call anymore for a while. I may be including some live trading in a new platform that we're gonna be launching personally. I just recently stepped away from one of the companies that I've been trading for the past, it's probably been almost a year. I've been trading with them. Really cool company, big technology company. They presented some great opportunities to me. They flew me out to Dubai, took me on did the whole yacht stuff in Dubai, and it's been a great run running with them. I feel like, they helped me to develop and to just continue to take steps forward in my trading journey. They put me in front of a different group of people. They showed me how they make money in certain different ways. And I was able to learn a lot from them in that. However, there are certain things to where I feel as though we align differently on, and that I want to still be able to provide the same value. But instead of doing it for them, I'm gonna do it, myself with with partners, with people from maybe our community here, um, or people who I know, trust, and respect, so that we can continue providing as much value as we possibly can, to everybody who, wants to be in this space, right? I think that what we've created is special. I think that what we've created is purposeful. I think that what we've created here in the community that we've built is something that I'm very proud of, to be a part of, and to be one of the leaders that are involved in this. Um, I've taken the forefront on sharing and leading and guiding, and we've seen other people who have come through and have started to see, they're sharing their own gifts, right? They're seeing successes for themselves. We have different people, that are at different experience levels. I've been loving seeing, you see me, I'm funny with it, yo, and I'm not shy. Y'all see me. I be watching my chat, yo. The chat in the group, I'll be seeing who comes online, and sometimes there's some people who, they haven't been online in just a little while or so. And I like to call them out, because sometimes our people go, everybody goes and does their own thing, or, life happens and people step away. And then I love being able to have an environment to where when they do come back around, we can pull people back in, still show them the same love, and even have advanced further, since they've been gone, so they have something to look forward to. So, with all that being said, actually, if you guys wouldn't mind, we can go to the chat right now and we can drop some OTCs in the chat. Even though we won't be doing our weekly outlook call. I mean, we are doing the weekly outlook call. We're not going to be doing our, boot camp call. Um, we still will look to get our people online with us. OTC, OTC, OTC. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, you guys. I'm super pumped because honestly, I just took a loss on the scanner. The market actually flipped on the open, but it immediately seemed to try to flip with the market. It hasn't called anything yet. There's no trades that are active, but it is moving in that same direction, right? What I was anticipating here, and the fact is that as it called it something like what I would have, how I would see it just as well, right? It was just this gap up. It wasn't on this one. It was actually on NZD. It was this one. So it was a good loss actually, because this is what the trade more so was looking like, and this is what the loss became. So it's risk to reward all day, all day, all day. I'll take that loss any day of the week, you guys. Big flipper if it happens, right? But right now, what we're looking at is a couple of different things, right? I am gonna get started. We're just gonna run through the news as we typically would do, right? I always like to start off by just doing a review of the news. You guys, you notice I sound like a broken record out here 99% of the time. I hope that you've realized that over the past 6 weeks that you've been with me. There's nothing that's going to change. I'm going to say the same thing. I try to make the process so robotic that I can just go back to it. It's almost like, if you think about it, what we're looking to do is, well, let me say it this way. What we got to do is you have to set your default settings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to go ahead and structure things in a way that it becomes so easy for you to always come back to it, so that in the times where you're tired, in the times where you step away, in the times where you don't know which way to go, in the times where you feel you're not so clear, you come back to the same default settings, right? The same things. If you go ahead and imagine, well, I'm about to go off. I'm talking fast already. Anyways, yeah. So these are my default settings, guys. I'm not gonna say. Moral of the story is I'm not going to be saying anything different. It's the exact same things that I do every week. I show up to the market at the same time. Coda. These two like playing rough, Brian. I don't like it, but I know they're playing. But she like putting his hand in his mouth. This dude's like twice her size. Then they want to start wrestling. I gotta keep an eye on that. Anyways, yeah. All right, guys. First things first, as we always do, we're going to pop up. We're going to check the news. We don't want any curveballs. We don't want any surprises, right? There's enough surprises already. Sunday, there's no news. We go through it Monday. We got some AUD news. This isn't going to be until 10 p.m. New York session. There's no news. Tuesday, we got AUD session, AUD news during Tuesday, right? So we go back and we see this is just a conversation. This is kind of going to give the feeling, the sentiment, and the CPI is going to be a direct number. It's going to be a straight number. It's going to be a straight push, right? This is where you get that one directional momentum, all day long, right? When they start to go and put out numbers like the CPI news, that is a direct number, one number. CPI is typically one of my favorites to trade. It's typically one directional. It's not like the FOMC statements that swing in one direction first and the other direction after that. They are typically one directional, right? So with that being said, we're going to look at this and say AUD USD may be a currency pair that we may want to look into, right? We might look at Euro AUD, we might look at AUD JPY, but the fact that we see that we don't have any USD news throughout this week towards the beginning, I'm curious about how the AUD pairs are going to move, right? So we'll keep an eye on that. We have USD news, FOMC statement and the press conference, federal fund rates on Wednesday. This is all in the PM session in the afternoons. The USD news is not really hidden for what I'm like, and I'm not really. It's not my favorite thing right now. Honestly, I think for the US dollar and some of the pairs against the dollar, the biggest thing that we're gonna see or that's gonna move the market is not going to be necessarily the scheduled news events. Is going to be what we see over here, which we'll take a look at in just a moment, right? Thursday, we have GBP news. So there's monetary policy, official bank rates, unemployment claims. We got more monetary policy stuff, all of those things. Big day on Thursday. This is going to be for the London session. So by the time that we wake up, a lot of this would have already happened, right? This is early session. We got to either be up to see like what's going on here, or by New York, maybe we have the direction already. We could hope. And then we've got JPY news scattered throughout the week. I'm very excited about this. This is what my excitement is right now at this point in time. Um, the USD is going to be strictly based on what is happening in Iran, right? What's happening there is what's affecting the entire market. It's very difficult. It's not very difficult. We've been doing well. We went 100%. I won 100% last week, you guys. We went 7 for 7 in this group, and the company that I work for, I went 5 for 5 on their platform. We went 100% win rate for the week last week. Every trade we sent hit target. And that's a beautiful thing in the middle of a war, right? Because even though all of this is a bit unpredictable, this is very clear. And if we're following our exact same structure, the exact same strategy, the exact same plan that we've all talked about, I'm going to walk you guys through what we discussed over the boot camp. I'm going to show you some of those same exact things, and we're going to stick to the exact same plan despite the news. This news will be an accelerant. It'll accelerate anything, like it's going to be like the gasoline on top of everything. When we're already positioned, we're already in profits, we're already stacking our position, and we're going nice and slowly. We're not rushing, we're not forcing it, but we're preparing now while everybody else is waiting and being reactive. So that I'm very excited about that, right? So as we look through, Iran to halt attacks as long as U.S. maintains latest pause. Senior Iranian source tells Reuters. That's a big piece of news, you guys. This is a great thing, right? This is a great thing. And I'll talk about that more in a second. But we just got some crazy threats again, yo, this past week. We got some crazy threats. You shoot down a tanker or bombing a bridge. That's like pushing the package in my perspective. That's a lot. That's the type of stuff that makes me nervous. I don't like it. I can't tell you. I don't take it lightly. I'm not just like, yo, that's another country and such and such. Like, no, those are like people's lives for real. And it's like there's always repercussions for every action. So although people can play, I don't know. I'm not really gonna get into all of that, but um, I don't like those conversations, right? So hearing that things are settling down, I know we're needing to come to a point to where there's an agreement that's signed. Um, those things are all positives, and push us in the right direction. A complete flip on the sentiment. That's why that trade stop loss got hit at market open, because the sentiment completely flips with one statement that's not even on our scheduled news. That's the crazy part about where we are right now. But that's all we can do. Threat is response to Ukraine. I'm not even going to get into all that, guys. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. There's a couple things that I see right now. So with that being said, our focus is, for me at least, let me close all this stuff up. Um, I don't want more, I want less. My focus is going to be these JPY events. We want to see what the JPY is doing. And we also want to see what is going on with this Australian dollar. So the AUD is setting up from right now, right? We can look to the AUD pairs and see if there's any similarities across the board. Because we have the closest news events on the Australian dollar, we want to see, is there anything that we're seeing in common against maybe AUD USD, and AUD JPY. Maybe we look at Euro AUD because it would do the opposite, right? We would see Euro AUD that can kind of give us some indication as to where, what sentiment is like when it comes to the AUD pairs in general, right? So Euro AUD is going to be the complete opposite. It's going to do exactly opposite of, well, you guys remember we spoke about correlations. Look at this. Watch. Watch, I'm gonna show you guys some stuff. We're gonna crank with and we're gonna start applying the exact same things that we talked about through our last boot camp. But we'll take this compare button here. We'll take maybe AUD, USD. We're gonna add that to our chart here for now, and we're gonna look to see how this market trades um within itself, one against the other, right? We're going to look for price to trade into like this equilibrium point. Maybe this is where we are right now, right? We want zero, the zero's up here, somewhere here. And maybe we anticipate seeing this AUD selling to the center line and this, excuse me, um, and this Euro AUD going to that center line, right? The same way that it's done again and again and again, because this market is it's a reflection of itself, right? You could essentially flip it on itself. Imagine taking the market and flipping it upside down. just cutting your screen in half and folding it over, or taking your screen and flipping it on its head. And that's exactly what you get with these pairs that are highly correlated like this. You can also look at like AUD JPY, and AUD JPY at this point in time will show you something maybe even more dramatic, right? You can see that it's not the exact same, right? This one has a further way to go. So what that means is that if AUD USD has a smaller sell to the middle, and AUD JPY has the bigger sell to the middle, you might have a bigger opportunity with the AUD JPY pair as opposed to, AUD USD, right? You might still have a phenomenal trade regardless, but they you can see that they're dupe. It's, can you guys see what I'm saying? Like, I know it's a crazy language, but they're a flip of itself, and they both may sell while Euro AUD in this case buys, since it's the opposite correlation, um, in order to make it to a point of equilibrium. Um, but there may be a bigger opportunity on AUD JPY. And I'm going to tell you guys why I feel that. Let me know if you guys are keeping up with, if you guys are tracking with me on that, if that makes sense, if that's like a completely different flip on perspective, even from the boot camp that we just went through. Let me know if you guys are still tracking with me. Drop a 111 in the chat, some fire signs. 111, 111, 111. If you guys need me to slow down, you can ask just as well. But as I continue forward with that, this is what I'm seeing. Let's get into like some of the things that we talked about during the boot camp, right? Slow me down, ask questions if you need to, but I'm gonna go a little bit faster than as slow as I've been going the past couple weeks, right? Some of the things that we learned about the candle that takes us to the buy side, that helps us to create the higher highs, right? We sweep the highs in here. Price is going higher, low, higher high, higher low, I should say, higher high, right? We easily see this trend in this kind of a direction here, right? We can see it on the bottom side over here just as well. What we end up seeing is after price explodes to the upside, we are able to catch a 1 to 3 risk to reward trade from the lows. It actually never comes back here. Price continues to trade all the way to what becomes a 1 to 6. The trade that I captured was a 1 to 3, risk to reward trade here, right? Back to structure. On the sell, I exited. The cell that is created here, we now have what is these are equal lows, right? Those equal lows at this point seem to get cleared. We breach into the lower levels here. Price comes back, retest, and then we fall. We've got this like M pattern that's been created here, and then we can see that price is now moving in the sideways kind of structure here, right? We notice that there is an imbalance here that has not yet been fully mitigated, but what that gives us is it gives us our lows, and it gives us our, maybe our midway point or our entry, right? For that entry, we probably, what do I want to use for this? For our entries, we probably end up looking at price maybe in this area where it's at right now, because this would be our range. This would become the zone, the structure that we're looking to trade within, right? Right in here, right? From this point in time, we have our lows below the low. That's about 76 pips. That's a little bit big for me, if I'm being honest. I'd like to cut that in half if possible, right? So what I might do is I might look for price to target the highs, trade into here, and I know already if I do it like this, I've got a 1 to 4. Sorry, you got a 1 to 4 risk to reward trade, right? The only thing that I need for confirmation here, I might do something more like this, right? I might do something more like this. You see where this becomes that bullish engulfing candle. One second, guys. All right, my bad, guys. Let's keep it moving. Oh, did it move already? Wait, is it still going? All right, cool. So this is essentially what we're looking for right here, right? You see, as this previous candle becomes the sell side, right? We get this body that comes through here, and we get this long wick right here, right? As this following candle starts to close on top of this long wick, what we're looking for is we're looking for price to maintain above here. So I told you that this is too big of a range for me, 80 pips. What I might end up looking for is I look for something that is more like this, right? We enter here where price is currently at. We're going to be pulling this low into this low, and we end up getting something that's more like 30 pips or even 25 pips, something like that, right? This becomes our entry. So we take it at 25 pips, understanding that it's possible that price actually still does trade to the lows. And we trade into this area down in here, right? Maybe we take 50%, as we talked about before, you guys, of our zone here, and we look to enter. What did I do? Did I touch something? Oh, what did I do? Huh. Okay. Where did this come from? That's mad random. That was mad random. I don't know where that came from. Anyways, sorry guys. 50% right here. And I'm gonna make that one green. Right? And maybe I look to enter here if price does trade back there. That's still 60, maybe underneath this body here. I'll try to get in some like this, another 35 pips. So I would be better off, I would be more comfortable in this case taking this trade at 35 pips, 25 pips, and then another 35 pips in case it didn't work out. But in reality, either way it goes, we're looking at a 1 to 10, 1 to 12 risk to reward trade back to the highs. This is what I'm looking at on Euro AUD after the sweep of this low. The only thing that we want now is we want for price to trade back into structure. You feel me? We want to come from right here to here or here. It could do either one. It could come from here. Oh, see, that's a good lesson. We can go here, and we're still looking for the pullback. On the pullback, we can come to above entry in here, and we get the pull, or it goes and tries to do a deeper pullback into structure to sweep these lows. We already secured partial profits on the initial buy since that's 67 pips, and then we get a chance to enter lower. That could be a great scenario. But all in all, we might see that happen um, either day. It could be tomorrow um, in the evening, or it could be for CPI. We could have like market could flip and we don't even know. So we're just going to look at scenarios. And let me see if the scanner got anything. We got an AUD USD buy side, which is opposite of what I'm saying here, right? So we're going to look at that as well. I could see why the scanner could get tricked. So we're gonna see if it gets tricked or what's going on here. If it's keeping up, if it's following the signals. Maybe the scanner has something that I don't see, right? So we'll go through it all. But now that we know the news, let's just go through everything as we typically would do. We are gonna go ahead and we see the dollar index. Dollar index, what's been happening to this point so far. We have our sweep of the lows, right? We create equal lows, price sweeps the lows. Once we trade back into structure, we get our buy side move from there, right? We get the buy side move. We immediately make a move to trade to the highs. We've now created equal highs. Price is traded in this structure here again and again and again. It's touched and touched and touched, right? We know that this is a point of interest, right? When price trades back to structure, we can see that we eventually come in here and we have one candle that's strong enough to push us through that previous structure, right? So those are the things that we know. Now that it's done that, this becomes our low. This is the big guy in the market. And we can see as he's pushing price back through structure, we actually have not opposed this guy yet. We haven't been here, right? This would be a clearing of these highs here and these highs here, right? We can see that happening if our trend from no, ma'am, do not do that. Yo, they're trying to give me a run for my money right now. Absolutely not. No, it's not okay. Go sit down. All right. Oh, Lord. Okay, continue. Sorry, guys. We see the dollar breakdown. We see the trend gets broken here. We see the highs are intact, and price has a good run to sweep these highs, right? We can see these highs get traded into, and market can potentially give us a an additional push from here to here, right? It's not a 1 to 3 in my situation here. So it might be not something that I'm going to add to in that sense. But we expect for price to continue in the same direction after breaking through this trend, trading sideways, and we can expect to see price continue higher here. I'm going to be continuing to look for buys on this until this guy is taken out. Even if price were to sell from where we are here and we broke down and continue to sell, I would be looking to take the buy side right here. So we have a lot of contingency movements that are happening right now. We have a lot of things to where it's like there's not certainty, but we know how to move in either situation, right? We continue forward. We can see USD CAD is traded to the highs, traded back to structure here. We look at that on a smaller time frame. We actually hit take profit on USD CAD this week or last week, so that's cool. We can see that even though we hit our first targets, prices actually it didn't really go anywhere. Big sideways motion. USD CAD is based in a big effect by what's happening with oil, so we need to have more clarity in that field for more clarity here, right? But we see that USD CAD has been under pressure right along with the US dollar, that has been selling back from the highs since market open, right? USD CHF, we're seeing sell side here just as well. This has been an overall buy side trend, but now we have created these highs or equal lows and lows that can all become targets. It is possible that price can trade all the way back down to structure here, right? And if it does trade all the way back down into structure here, this could still be a valid buy side. I'm not looking to take sells necessarily or buys on USD CHF from here. This actually looks like a pretty decent sell into this structure here just as well. So, I don't know. So we got some pressure on the dollar is what we're seeing from the jump. Possible that this happens here. We have that break of this trend line. What we would want to see before we took any sells was for price to come and create a low that's lower than here to trade back into structure and then to give us maybe an additional push. This is a possibility. We're not looking to take sells on the dollar. Not I. I'm not doing that right now. AUD USD. I love this still. This was our trade from last week, right? This was our trade from last week. We hit target on this as well. Then do we went 7 for 7 last week, right? This was a prime sell. I've actually crept the stop loss up. The stop loss was like 740 right in here, 30 pips. But at this time, I have put the stop loss above the highs, and we can see how price is still just turning over here. It's like we've reached structure here, right? So the scanner is calling the buys. I believe it called the buy off of the impulse move. Oh, wait, did it call the buy? It didn't call the buy. It has not called this trade yet, guys. It hasn't called it, but this is the confirmations that it's getting. So let me see. Confirmed consecutive closes accepted, external structure, structure valid, no entry zone derived. It says it's not actionable. Um, I tried to work on that, so I got to see why it said that. I try to get rid of that message, because I did create a new formula for how to derive the entry after the consecutive closes. One of the things that I just added a new feature here is there's different types of structural breaks that we've seen. We've seen the big pushes, the bullish engulfing candle that just breaks through structure and it becomes one candle. But then we've also seen it happen with like multiple candles, 2 or 3 candles that actually take us through. So I created a formula for both scenarios, and it was supposed to update to. I'll work on that afterwards, but it's cool because it didn't actually call this trade yet. There's no call. This is like it said opportunity is kind of loading. We're not even in the watching zone. I'll charge it for you. The battery's dead. It's not even in the watching zone yet, right? So we don't have any trade set up here. When you see that there's a trade, it'll give you the trade information here, and it'll give you like a entry. Right now, we're in watching mode because it's given some confirmations, but not everything. And this one is showing, I'm working on that also. That's something else. But they're both showing, everything is showing is bullish right now due to how markets opened. Um, and we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. It's showing bullish here as well. We do have this break up here just as well. But this is what I'm kind of curious about, right? Huh. Hmm. Maybe the buys do come through. Hmm. Because this I could see buys for sure coming in. I don't really know what's going on. Well, I guess that's in. Okay, so I guess where's my confusion? What am I confused about right now? Let me slow down. Because I called. Okay, cool. That's because I called a sell. Because I'm not seeing the cells. Okay, I get it now. Hold on, slow my roll. All right, let me not confuse myself. Let me check myself real quick, guys. Sorry that this is happening in real time, bro. My brain, because I was really super confused, and then I'm like, why am I confused? Because everything is telling me it's one thing. All right, I should put some music on. Anyways, all right, cool. Let me start over. I'm gonna start over because I'm confused right now. But because I've set my default settings, I know where to come back to when I feel confused. So I called the trade on AUD The reason why was not due to the AUD that has news tomorrow. It was due to the JPY. So there's multiple things at play right now. There's multiple factors that are happening right now. And I'm looking to account for all of them. So, okay, so take a breath and slow down. Cool. Because I was super confused as how I got confused there. But I'm like, am I actually confused? And I'm not. All right, I'm gonna just go in my order, guys. Sorry, I got to get back on track. All right, so what I'm thinking right now is I'm thinking about buys on the yen, right? The Japanese yen has usually moved negatively when there are negative news events. Their economy has been impacted dramatically by what's been happening in Iran. So when we see the unannounced news here that Iran is to halt attacks as long as US maintains latest pause, when we see things like that, those are news events that would positively impact the Japanese yen. So now, as I analyze the Japanese yen specifically on a multi-time frame perspective kind of basis, what you see here first is that number one, we are trading below our psychological levels, like our 5,000, our key psychological level. Not only are we trading below it, but we have breaches and imbalances here. We have like imbalance structure here. We have order blocks that are here, right? And price can trade to any one of those places. Even if this ended up becoming a longer term sell side trade, we would still anticipate that price would pull back. Haha, I had the line there already. It's almost like I planned that, right? Price would trade back into structure before continuing to fall, right? It could trade through here, it could trade up into here. That's like 1,200 points. This will drop the market on all of these JPY pairs, right? This could drop the market on all of those JPY pairs, but this would be my target. I would anticipate that price would to move into structure here, right? We drop it down to the 2 hour time frame and we can see how price is starting to react here, right? Price has been on the sell side. We're in a ranging market, right? Where you could potentially sell the highs, buy the lows, sell the highs, buy the lows, sell the highs, buy the lows, because we're literally just trading in a ranging market. I'm not saying to do that at all. That's not what I'm saying to do. But I'm just saying it's up and down, and every 2 hours it's just fluctuating. And really, what you want to see is you want to see price trade above this high or below this low. Everything in between is consolidation territory and then a buy or a sell depending on what happens next. Price could trade from here into the lows, and then from here we could see it continue to fall. Guess what? We would be able to see that very quickly, right? I love it because it would only take us 14 points to be able to assess that and see, is this in alignment? It would only take 14 points, right? That means that the risk to reward on this trade becomes exponential. We're looking at a 1 to 10 because we're entering at like your last point. This is the last possible opportunity that you have to continue selling before things can get dramatically worse. Like this is the structure that needs to hold. As we start to analyze this, remember we started from the 4 hour time frame, we saw some information. We see that we actually have this big cell that comes into structure, right? It never breaks the low. I want you to keep that in mind. The next thing that we have is we have an immediate big bullish buy side that comes back above that high. This actually very subtly, as you see it, creates a higher high. Most people wouldn't notice that, but it creates a higher high. If you throw it on the line chart, it creates a higher high. Price actually trades and sweeps all the lows, sweeps the lows, sweeps the lows, sweeps the lows. These are considered our internal structure, our internal lows. We sweep all of them and we test the external structure and we're unable to break through. What's the next thing that happens? If history is correct, we end up trading back to our high, at least here, at least, right? If we're early, it's not broken, but I'll fix it. Leave it alone. If it's early, it'll push through here. You guys, when I had to go jump on her earlier, she went outside to my patio furniture and unzipped the patio furniture and started pulling the cotton out of the cushion and came to me. And now my neighbor downstairs, I'm not going to talk bad, but I got this neighbor downstairs. We dropped something in their yard. I try to go back and get something. They wouldn't open it. Anything that falls in their yard, it disappears. You'll never see it again. It's like, it's crazy. You would think they would do like an act. I'm not talking about my neighbor, bless them. But I tried to go down there to retrieve something that fell and I was unable to do so. They didn't come to the door, or whatever the case may be. I'm like, I'll come back and check. They didn't come to the door. They got a ring camera door, and then the stuff just disappears. You never see it again. So right now they got a bunch of cotton down there that I'm gonna have to go try to retrieve. Anyways, guys, sorry. That was a whole rant. I'm sorry. Um, as we see here, we're down to the 30-minute time frame now, and we can see that price has created is swept all the lows, but it's maintained above our external structure. Was that a crazy story or what? What a sidetrack. It's above all of our external structure, above this guy right here, right? You see, I had it up here because that's what it looks like on the line chart. It doesn't look like that on the line chart. Why did that happen all the way up there? That was probably a slip. But this is where our external low would be, right? Price trades above that. We trade back into range. Now we're sideways here and we're just waiting for price to break above. My expectation is that we do this. Either one of these possibilities are true. I mean, are possible. But my expectation is that we do this and we actually ended up getting in at the bottom of the structure. We identified a higher low before most people did, and then we end up making the higher high after that. If that's the case, it's an easy conversation for price to come back and mitigate many of these imbalances. It doesn't even have to do all of this for us to have a successful week. We don't even need it to do all of this for us to have a highly successful week. If it does this, I'm grateful. Simply, if it does this, I'm grateful. Depending on how I feel, I could stop trading right there for the whole week, right? Or we might go ahead and be like, yo, market's giving confirmation and we end up compounding positions as well, right? Or it could be this. Or it could be this. We could be like trendy market, trendy market. The fact is that it doesn't matter what happens as long as we follow our rules, right? This might not be my 1 to 3, so maybe I don't enter there, but I look to enter like here, right? Maybe or maybe I get a tighter entry here and we do enter here, right? And we end up in a trendy market. I saw Craig was trading like this. He was watching for the next points of structure. Where is my next level that I'm looking to break into? Right? We break into that next point, price trades back, we get our next entry, and we have our targets for where we expect price to trade to the order blocks or to the structure, the higher structure, right? After that, we don't know what's going to happen. We take everything one day at a time. We might end up being in the trade. That's why I mess with the prop firms. However, you got to be trading on live because you might have your entry there and you don't know that this is the trade that you're really in. You know what I'm saying? And you could be holding and compounding and stacking. That goes for anything. So that's why it's like, but they'll, close you out after a certain point or whatever the case may be. If we can go ahead and balance all of these things, we'll be, I'm grateful, like I said, for every single point, whether it trades to here and breaks the highs, which if we're just looking at our strategy and our structure, that may be what we expect for price to do, to trade back to our next quarter. Maybe we see it at the 525, right? And we actually go to clear the highs, right? If that happens, hold on real quick. Okay, is that working? All right, cool. If that happens, then we trade back to the highs that we've already previously been at. We might be in a bigger trade, right? So we look at that as an option, an opportunity, potential. And now we're just simply waiting for the confirmations that are going to, direct that. Based on what we're seeing right now, we're in good shape. I don't know if you guys see it moving as I'm talking. We see a little bit of a push. But what does that mean? That means that pairs on the opposite end, like AUD, JPY, if they are trading into structure here, maybe we are trading to the highs. We could probably see it on a 2 hour time frame. Maybe there's like a high here that price has made a move to test or to trade into. Um, and that we fall away, we trade back into our previous structure. We're kind of in the middle of this order block right now. We want to see this price continue to trade into this low to stay where it's at right now. This is a perfect potential in my perspective. And that would be if this JPY continues to show bullish signs, it'll push the rest of the JPYs to the downside, right? CAD JPY, it's not been the pair that I've been keeping my focus on so much because it's so heavily impacted by oil. But there's some imbalances down here. There's this order block down here. There's this structure here, but it's still staying currently above our highs here, right? We can say that it's tested into this structure here, but I would like to see this break down further, trade back into this structure here before I make any predictions on this one. I definitely see a potential for it to pivot just as well. You want to dance? You got to give me 20 minutes. I'm almost done. And we could see price trade lower here, right? But this is not my favorite pair currently. One that has confused me a little bit has been GBP JPY. GBP JPY is continuing to give me really bullish signs, real bullish signs on GJ. Like, this is the one out of all of them that I feel like is showing that this could buy. This trend has been super strong, from the lows. This has been super strong, break structure, trade sideways, explode to the upside, right? We find, come back, mitigate this imbalance. We're trading sideways here. This to me is like, this one for me makes me question everything else that I just said, to be honest. That's the one that would make me be a little, put me on pause, right? Now I'm looking at these other pairs and looking at this yen basket overall. And I said one of the reasons why I'm taking the yen is because you're at such a point to where if it does flip, then it becomes a beautiful thing. It could really go crazy and flip for real, right? But GJ is showing like we could break and completely duplicate this move, right? Because remember, for every seller, there's going to be an equal buyer, and that could put us to our 220. And this would be a natural 150-point move, and it kind of puts me on pause for everything else, right? This shows me like, I still haven't taken highs. It hasn't taken highs. Maybe I gotta switch my perspective because, yeah, NZDJPY, NZDJPY. I'm just not convinced yet, guys, on a lot of this stuff. Honestly, we need some more decisive action. I want to see what price does in here. It's the same thing across the board for everything. We got JPY news at the back end of the week, so we might have more clarity there. I honestly still like this more so to the sell side from the 95, right? I think that we could maybe over the next couple of hours close bearish here in the same direction as the AUD JPY if it does stay up. But we just need to wait. We didn't get the close. We didn't get a significant close on this last 4 hours. I want to see this next 4 hours coming into tomorrow morning, buy into the structure here, and then continue to trade higher at that point in time. But that is it, guys. We kind of need some more information, honestly. This is the only one that and this is confusing me just a bit. But AUD JPY is giving me the best setup overall to the sell side. AUD USD could trade lower to go and mitigate this imbalance here. We already hit targets, first target at the low here. We have a pullback. This has come to our 61.8 pullback area, and then we could potentially see price fall from here. So I like it. I want to see how the news comes out tomorrow for AUD. That's going to give us the clearest signs. We broke through the low on Euro USD. Remember, we were targeting up here at one point. Those buys never came to take us back to the sell side. So still trading in that sideways consolidation. I really feel like everything is just waiting on this resolution. GBP USD, we hit all of our targets. We hit every single target. It's just like now what, right? We traded to our take profit two, actually. We hit take profit one and take profit two on GBP USD. We've now retraced almost back to take profit one. There is an imbalance above that previous zone that we're at now, which is where price could potentially trade back to our entry. This is where our first trade was taken at, right? We could trade back to this structure and it wouldn't change the trade at all. NAS, it opened up high off rip, and we've already seen NAS sell over 100 points since market open, since the high. AUD JPY is priced currently below a quarter. It is below the 115 quarter level, right? We previously tested at that 115 or right below it here, and then we left the imbalances in the market above these highs that we just traded into now, right? So these are some of the things that we're seeing. We just traded back into the structure that was created after we rejected away from the quarter level. So now we want to see price fall over. It's just that there's two big events with AUD JPY that could either both work in our favor and it'd be a banger of a week from the jump street. Because if AUD news does sell across AUD JPY and AUD USD, right? If we see sells on these pairs, and we also see Iran kind of calm down just a bit, and we see a buy side over here on the yen basket, then we have double the impact on AUD JPY. We have double of the forces working positively on this pair here, right? And all we need to see is a rejection here and for price to trade back into structure. We're looking at pairs like Euro AUD to see if Euro AUD is going to break above this current point and then trade back to structure here. If this happens on this end, and guess what? I don't have it on my screen because I don't really trade with indicators. But if I put my moving averages on here, I can highly, I could believe that my 21 would be below and my 9 would be, it would, I'm going to make a guess right here. It's either that it's about to cross or it would have just crossed. With this kind of a push followed by this dramatic move, I'm gonna say that my 9 is probably like right here and it's already crossed actually. So let's see if I can guess that correctly. It's either just crossed or it's about to cross, but one of those two are true. So it's, ooh, look at that, and it's touching it perfectly. I didn't look at it beforehand. I just really like when it comes to the moving averages, you can tell when it's going to make a move. Because if it makes like a pump fake, it goes in one direction, clears the lows, and then immediately trades back into that direction. You know that that's when it falls, and then they come back and cross in the opposite direction. So I can just tell because I've looked at it for so long that this is the crossover right here. That's what's happening here. Sideways, sideways, cross below the lows, and then immediately back above. All we need is for the market to create a high above this structure here at the 63, and you can start to bet for the 60 for the 1.65. This is your next bet, and that's the 1 to 8 off the rip, just trading out of the same structure. I don't take Euro AUD often, but when they hit, these hit, and it's from the same exact place. Some of the trades I send, I take my same old signal and I just send it again. People don't even recognize. It makes me laugh. I take the same signal and I just post it again because it comes back to the exact same. It's like me buying here, price buys, I hit take profit one, take profit two, and it trades back here, and I buy again, and I hit take profit one, hit take profit two, and one day you hit take profit four, and it just keeps on going, right? So we'll see, guys. We'll see, we'll see. My real belief, my real hope for the week. Y'all heard it here first. If this fails the same way that it's looking like it's looking like it's failing. Go back and look at the zones that I gave you. It seems slow, but I sent that signal 3 hours ago. One candle, two candle, three candle. Why you don't got enough muscle to break through here right now. This is where, and you can see, this is where we get that opposite crossover. This is right before the 9 crosses below the 21. Mark my words. Let me screenshot it so we got it for the week. Because that's what I believe happens next. And I could be wrong, but if both of these things accelerated, I hope you guys got hope you're funded up and you're ready for the week. It's time to at least, you might as well see it. See what we're doing here. All right, what's my prediction? What am I saying? Um, anticipating. I already said it though. Should I say it again? I already have the trade posted there. I just didn't give an explanation. I guess you had to be here, folks. I'm gonna wrap it up with that one. Hope you guys all have an amazing rest of your night. I'm gonna have eyes on the market this week. Those are the two things that I'm looking for. If we see that this is the beginning of the moves, guys. This is why funded accounts and live accounts. You trade them because if it lets you swing it, these are where you can get compound entries. One, bum, 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 bum. Maybe another one here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not trying to be greedy. Another one over here, and you try to hold it and build those positions because as long as that continues to go, then this is going to go. And if we're in profits already off the jump street and then AUD news comes in tomorrow, that's how we start to like build, right? We got a goal. We got to all build to $20,000 now in the account. Everybody in the community got to have 20 racks in their account, and we got to make that happen. NZD is failing as we just anticipated. You know what I'm saying? This is where we'll look for sells. You won't see me sell it until we break back into structure first, and then we retest. But if JPY turns green like that, if JPY turns green and we're green for the week, y'all saw it here first. Y'all saw it here first. We're going to be transitioning, guys. I just stepped away from the company that I've been working with for the past 6 months. No, I've been working with them for about a year, since like June of last year, honestly. But I worked with them at a different capacity all this year. I just stepped away from that and we're gonna run it ourselves. I'm gonna be coming with more value. We'll do more live trading sessions. I've done account builds to where we each go ahead and we vote on it and we say how much do we want to deposit into the account, whether it's $100 or $250. Last time we went with $250 and we all put the same amount into the account and we took the exact same lot size trade. Whether it's a 0.05, 0.03, we managed our risk together. We've said we're risking 2% to 3% per trade. And we went ahead and we took our trades based off of the proper risk management and we all just did it together. And that helped people get their feet wet, right? Help them get their feet wet a little bit. So we'll be doing things like that. If you guys are interested in that, you guys can let me know. Um, I want to see how is this going to respond here, because this is going to be the big test. Two more pairs just came up. GBP USD, it says it's looking for a reversal here now, though. RSI overbought. This is not overbought. That's actually something that I was literally just working on. I've already put this in there because this is not an overbought number here. But it's picked it up as such. That little pivot that the market just did on the open. Craig, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me.
Are you trading on the Genesis platform?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you gonna do a course on how to set that up and so forth?
Yeah, I can do that. You guys let me know. Yeah, I can get you guys set up on Genesis. Um, I can do, let me think
I've been
about
looking
that.
at the tutorial trying to figure it out. I got a demo on it. I'm just working on a demo now. But
Yeah, I got
yeah.
you. Let me think about what's the best way to do that, and get you guys through to setting that up. Have you already worked with any kind of a cryptocurrency already? Do you know like USDTs and stuff like that?
I haven't done any cryptos.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I would like to be able to do some NAS and so forth, but
I got you. Yeah, let me just think about it for a second and I'll get back to you. Give me about maybe by tomorrow and I'll have an answer for how I can show you guys how to get set up on that.
all right, cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, you guys. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day and we'll all talk soon. Talk to you guys this week. Peace.